We have made 4 templates now, and the next step in the process is to link the fixed text to dynamic text from the database. In our database, the assets contain metadata, and the profile of the database can be loaded in Channel Composer. So I'm importing the database profile, and it shows me the metadata available in this specific database. Now I have to link this text field, which should be dynamic, to the metadata from the database. So selecting the text here, move this a little bit out. So I'm selecting the text, and in the object, go to the Grass Valley text here and select the scene parameter. So create a name for the scene parameter. And it's highlighted in yellow now, so I can always find back the scene parameters which are dynamic from the playlist. I have a list here of scene parameters which were defined for this project. At this point, I'll import a prepared project which we're running on the K2 Ads in Live. Importing the project here, and I can see now that there is a whole set of templates available and objects available which were pre-prepared. So in this case, in the project, I can see all the little templates made for this project. For example, the bug in, bug out, with a few more keyframes here. The next representation, the large one, which is more complex. So I can see all the objects moving in from the right here, with all the smaller keyframes. So this is the big full screen next up presentation, and there's a smaller one as well, where we have the objects on the left side and the keyframes showing here when we move the timeline. So the next step is showing the formats which are applied to the main event when we import the playlist. If we go to the next up big format, we can see here that there's a next up 3 template here, which I can actually run on the system to have a preview. Okay, these elements here will be filled in by the playlist in real time. So we have the next up format here, the small overlay next up, give that a try. It's running here. Starts after a number of seconds into the main event. And we time these templates relative to the main event. So in this case, we have a 30-second main event, and you can see that the template duration is timed relative to that main event. The final stage is exporting the templates and the formats to the database, so they are immediately available for use. So in this case, export project. We can export to disk, we can export directly to Playout or to the COBOL database. We'll type in the IP of the database. Password. I only have access to the specific channels which were generated for my user. The next step is important. I actually can time the exact date and corresponding time when this channel pack will become available on air. So there's an activation date here, and I can export it to the system. It's exporting the whole channel pack to the central database, and every channel using this channel pack has access to these templates and formats. This was the final step in creating a channel pack for channels. These channel packs are now available for all channels for immediate use on air.